So, you really are back.
So are you, scoundrel.
Alright, so it's been about 2 years since I made this video about 5 games that I was extremely hyped for, and I'm looking back and I'm cringing on it because I was trying to capture this youthful excitement I had for an era that's pretty much gone and I can't really come back to. And this era was specifically where I would watch Etika, not just Etika, but other YouTubers, and I would get hyped for the next game. I'd watch, the Nintendo Directs and all of that shit, and I'd be like, oh my god, Gunvolt 2, oh my god, this game's coming out on the 3DS and all of this shit. And I wanted to make that video to recapture this sort of, youthful excitement that I had for, video games. What changed now is that I'm playing more arcade games, and I've watched YouTubers such as Spiders STG and The Electric Underground. These two YouTubers have helped me look at video games in a completely different light. Even if I don't necessarily agree with them 100% on everything, there's something fundamental about their criticisms that helped turn the key a bit more into understanding video games and just relatively just understanding the art form in general. There's a whole laundry list of ideas presented by these YouTubers that have really changed the way I look at video games. I think one of the biggest ones is that video games today are made to be extremely easy, so people can just buy it, not refund it, play through the entire game, and maybe possibly replay it, but they're not really meant to be difficult. You are always meant to see the end, compared to arcade games where you're not going to see that end. You're not going to see the true final boss until, I don't know, God knows how long, until you master every single level. Now, does that mean that every single easy game made after, 2000 is bad? Of course not. It just depends on which game you're talking about, and it's much more nuanced than I'm trying to explain it here. Oh yeah, dude, yeah, you remember that last video, right? No? Well, anyways, here's a quick summary of those 5 games that I was hyped for. Alright, I'm going to start with, was it VA Proxy, Persona 5 Tactica, and Samba de Amigo. Those games I did not care about. I did not care about at all. VA Proxy, I played the demo, that's about it. I can't really say much for those games, other than they were cool. That's it. Sonic Superstars. I did not care for this game as well. I did want to play the game, but I'm at a point where Sonic could just fall off the face of the earth and I'd just be cool with it, because Sonic Frontiers was absolutely garbage, and at this point I just don't want any new games. I don't even care. I'll try out Shadow Generation someday, but as of now, Sonic is good as dead, and anybody trying to say otherwise is just bootlicking corporatism. That's pretty much it. That's all the conversation has evolved to. Super Mario RPG Remake. It's pretty much Super Mario RPG, but easier. The only reason why you're going to be buying this game is because it's a remake, and it has super bosses. That's pretty much it. I finished the game. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to advertise the game, so if you are looking for another Super Mario RPG experience, I definitely recommend it, but other than that, I just don't feel like advertising it. So for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, I'm going to sum up my thoughts like this. I was attracted by the style, and I left for the lack of substance and replayability. The story was great, but gameplay reigned supreme. So if you're ever going to want me to replay your game, the beginning parts have to be really interesting for me to actually be able to replay it, because once I 100%ed this game, I actually just didn't care for the rest of the game. It was like, oh, that's it. That's all the game has to offer, and that's pretty much it. All the team battles are very easy to beat. All you have to do is rack up your score multiplier in order to beat any of these fucking levels, and that's pretty much it. Now, Hyperfunk is going to be the sequel to Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and what I'm hoping is that it captures Lethal League Blaze's high-speed gameplay in a platforming setting, or best case scenario, it makes the beginning game, or the beginning, a whole lot difficult, than the rest of the game. That would be pretty interesting to see, but I highly doubt it. But I'm still willing to see where this game will go. There's a lot of games that I feel like I want to talk about in this video, but I just don't have the time. Like how Sonic Frontiers is the biggest misstep in the entire franchise, or how Demon Tides is just another generic platformer. But I'm going to talk about Hellinker instead, because that game is actually really good and worth talking about right now. Now, over these 2 years, I got into shmups. So it started with Touhou 6 because I was watching a video and the announcer said something like, oh, this area is just as hard as Grandmaster Tetris or some bull. So I thought, I just might as well play this game to see what it's like. And it is pretty difficult. That's all I can really say about it. I don't really remember too much about it, other than it gave me that basic foundation of how to actually play a shmup. And then I started to play Dodonpachi and Dodonpachi DOJ, Ikaruga, Radiant. I think a tiny bit of Radiant Silvergun, but I was mostly just playing Touhou 6 because that was the game I just knew. I just kept on playing, and I finally got to the final boss on like normal mode, and I think I only beat it with like, I have not 1cc'd it. I don't think I've actually even 1cc'd any of these games, but it was just fun to just go through over and over. There was like literally zero commitment. I could just get into the game, play it a bunch of times, and obviously as long as I kept going through the levels over and over again, I would at least make some progress. And then I landed on Hellinker, which I didn't really know what to think of. I thought, oh, it looked pretty cool, and that was pretty much it. I didn't really have an expectation to go into, other than, oh, this game kind of has that Guilty Gear aesthetic, kind of. It definitely, it's not like Guilty Gear at all, but it definitely has a very distinct aesthetic compared to any other game I've ever played. And I want to start with the sound design, because like whenever you fire off like a special attack or anything that requires meter, you get this little like jingle, or not jingle, you get this like little voice, this little like robotic voice that almost sounds like it came from like that Xbox background noise. Robotic and like gibberish, and it's absolutely creepy, and I love it. It just sounds really good. And then you get into the enemy design. I'm not gonna go too much into the art, other than the backgrounds look really great and the enemy design looks very otherworldly. That's all I can really say about it. But the enemy designs, in terms of like how they move around the stage and how they're sometimes segmented, and you can get better score by taking out each individual part, depending on which one, depending on what enemy you're really looking at. Now, the character design and how you play as these characters vary. You have like 3 ships. Actually, you have 4, and the 4th one is like 3 or 4 ships in one, if I remember correctly. But anyways, you have Dead Liar, who like throws out a yo-yo and it'll just stay there, and you can move around and all that stuff. There's Fossil Maiden, where she kind of plays like a regular, she has like a normal shot, so she's like a regular ship that you'd find in any other shmup, but she can throw out this AoE attack of some kind. I forgot what it was, but she works kind of similarly to any other ship, but she's still overpowered in her own unique ways. And then there's Minogame, where he can just throw out like iframes like nothing. So you'd go up to an enemy, charge up your spin, unleash this iframe orb that you get to stay in. I feel like it's a lot bigger, but it stays up for a few seconds, and it's really huge. You basically stay invincible, you damage the enemy, and as long as you back out, you're free to do whatever else. And that's what makes this character completely unique from like any other ship as well. Hellinker isn't the only game that introduced me to this idea that replayability should be the top priority. Before even touching shmups, I grew up with Flash games, and after that, many years after that, I played this game called Ultra Kill that also introduced me to this idea and taught me that the more you engage with a game's systems, the more you start to unravel what seems to be a simple game. Alright, there's a whole lot of things I feel like I want to talk about. I really want to talk about my favorite video games, games I've been disappointed with. There's a whole list of things I really want to talk about and yap on about, but this video just isn't the video to talk about that stuff at the moment, so I'm just going to leave it off here.